Urbanization is the big challenge of our generation, and because the C40 mayors, all 63 or 64 of them, are absolutely on the cutting edge of whether or not we succeed or we fail on climate change. And so we're a partner agency with C40. We have a couple of hundred staff around the world in cities, advising them on how to do things differently, how to do things in a low carbon way, in a way that promotes economic growth and innovation and jobs, and how to create resilient cities. And so we're a very natural partner for the C40. Well, cities will be the most affected by climate change. So if you think about all of the costs that are going to be imposed by climate change, more than 80% of those will be in cities. Cities are often low-lying. Cities will suffer greatly from sea level rise, from increased heat. They will suffer massively from extreme weather events. Their water supplies will be threatened. Their energy sources will be threatened. And often their economic structures will be threatened. And so, first of all, cities need to worry about the problem of climate change. But also, cities need to be the solution to climate change, because more than 70% of all the greenhouse gases come from cities. And so the first thing that cities need to do is to figure out how to move from where we are today, which is heading in the wrong direction, that is heading to a 4 degrees Celsius increase in temperatures, which would be disastrous for citizens of cities and rural areas. How do we move from that towards a low-carbon future, but one in which we don't have to sacrifice growth and progress and technology and so on? And so that's what we're all about, and that's what C40 is all about. And so what's terribly important is that the leading cities in the world not only experiment and demonstrate success, but then share those successes with others, demonstrate these good economics and good politics to act in this. And then you get a sort of momentum going, and you get a bandwagon, and C40 is that. C40 is a bandwagon in process, and other cities will join, not necessarily join C40, but they'll join in this great movement which could transform the world, quite frankly. They can come up with solutions throughout 4,000 years of sort of modern history. Cities have been the place where ideas flourish, where they're created because of the give and take among people. They think of ideas, and so even things that don't sound very complicated, like, for example, bus rapid transit. Now, Curitiba in Brazil, Mayor Jaime Lerner, 40 years ago, had the idea, hey, why don't we reserve a lane specifically for buses? Now that sounds incredibly simple. Well, now it turns out that nearly 200 cities have bus rapid transit. It's much more than just reserving a lane. It's protecting that, it's creating stations that are covered, it's thinking about how do poor people interact with public transportation. As a result of that, deaths in those routes in Latin America that use bus rapid transit have fallen by 40%. Economic productivity has increased. It turns out that it now takes less time to get to work. It's safer, and it's also fantastically good for the environment. Now that's a very simple idea, but you could think of 100 such ideas. And as you know, C40 just yesterday published their list of all the activities, 8,000 activities from the 60 cities that were measured. And now, some of those are very small, some of them are moderately large, like bicycle shares or car shares. Some are more complicated, like new building codes or appliance labeling schemes or public awareness campaign. So none of them individually are massively complicated, but combined they can make a difference. Now, here's the point. You can do that sort of first round, which is now going on, which is wonderful. That's not going to get you down to where you need to get to. It might get you from a 4-degree increase in temperatures down to a 3-degree increase, that would still be a disaster. So you need more than that. You need real innovation. You need a different way of designing cities. You need transportation that that is electric rather than fossil fuel based. You need a whole range of technologies, and that's what we need to work on together. I mean, it was striking yesterday then, Mayor Bloomberg, you know, mayor of the world city, or New York City, he said, look, we implemented hundreds of measures in New York City, but he said, I think every single one of them actually had been tried somewhere else first. So you actually is about sharing, demonstrating, and what we really need to do is get it in the DNA of those who are running to be mayors of cities that going green, going low carbon is not just about the environment. It's about using resources more efficiently, and it's about doing something that's good for your citizens, and therefore they'll vote for you, and therefore it becomes self-sustaining.